Tonight, we're live from Paris with a special edition of Top Story. Team USA's electric comeback on the court. The star-studded team fighting off Serbia, advancing to the gold medal match. But first, back in the U.S., former President Trump sounding off in a fiery news conference. Trump blasting his new opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris. The former president slinging a number of falsehoods, including claiming no one died in the January 6th attack. His new push for 3 September debates on 3 different networks, and Harris's response to meeting him on that debate stage, plus the newly released body cam footage during Trump's assassination attempt, what it reveals. Also tonight, deadly twisters, tropical storm Debby on a destructive path north, spawning dangerous tornadoes, a middle school ripped apart, power knocked out, and rising floodwaters, forcing people to flee their homes, where the storm is taking aim next. Swift terror plot, the disturbing new details about the suspects planning to attack Taylor Swift's Vienna concert, the knives and bomb-making materials discovered, and the teen in custody who recently took a job at the concert venue. CrossFit drowning, tragedy at a swim event as a Serbian athlete loses his life during the competition, the investigation underway into what went wrong. Shark sighting, fins peeking out of the waves, coming within feet of beachgoers where it happened. Team USA's thrilling basketball game against Serbia. NBA legends narrowly avoiding an upset, clawing their way to the gold medal match. The surprise finish for track star Noah Lyles announcing he competed with COVID. The other sprinters now basking in a gold rush, adding more hardware to push Team USA to more than 100 medals. And climbing into history, American speed climber Sam Watson breaking his own world record and taking home the bronze. We speak with him about what this victory means and how he hopes to inspire others. Plus, U.S. women's soccer preparing to shoot their shot for gold once again. The family of one of the star players tells us what it's like to watch their daughter live out her dream. Top Story starts right now. And good evening. We are live tonight from Paris, the city buzzing after a hard-fought win by Team USA at the 2024 Olympics. The legendary men's basketball team narrowly avoiding an Olympic disaster in what was supposed to be a slam dunk, the team fighting to secure their spot in the gold medal match. We're going to have much more on today's greatest Olympic moments ahead. But first, former President Trump in the political spotlight after a fiery news conference. The former president in attack mode as he took the podium at his Mar-a-Lago estate, taking questions from reporters on a wide range of issues. Trump announcing he's agreed to meet his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, on a debate stage 3 times in September on 3 separate networks. So far, just ABC News has confirmed that the two will face off on September 10th. But that wasn't the only headline out of his news conference that went over an hour. The former president made several false and questionable statements.
If anybody I know is Jewish and they would vote for Kamala over me, they should have their head examined.
The former president insisting that the race hadn't changed much since Harris became the Democratic nominee. And with just 88 days to go until the presidential election, the campaign remains neck and neck. A new CNBC poll has Trump up by just 2 points. Also tonight, newly released body cam footage giving us a clearer picture of what happened during the assassination attempt on the former president's life. The alarming exchange between 2 officers in the moments after Trump was shot. We have a lot to get to on this busy evening. NBC's Garrett Haake starts us off.
Tonight, at least one debate showdown now set between former President Trump and Vice President Harris for September 10th, with Trump announcing in a news conference he's also accepted debate invitations from 2 more networks and challenged Harris to commit as well.
We'd like to do 3 debates. We think we should do 3 debates.
Harris telling NBC's Shaquille Brewster she is committed to just 1.
Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this.
Trump tonight also criticizing the vice president for not holding any news conferences or sit-down interviews in the 18 days since President Biden stepped aside.
She should be doing interviews. She doesn't want to do interviews. And the reason she doesn't is, number one, her policies are so bad.
A Harris aide told NBC News Harris and running mate Tim Walz would like to do a joint interview, quote, in a few weeks. While Trump was also asked about abortion rights, repeating his false claim most Americans wanted Roe v. Wade overturned, when polls show the opposite.
I think the abortion issue has been taken down many notches. I don't think it's a big factor anymore, really. We brought it back to the states. Everybody wanted it in the States.
Today, Harris and Walz in Michigan meeting union voters, part of a 5-day battleground barnstorm.
You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for.
A new CNBC poll shows Trump leading Harris nationally by 2 points, within the margin of error, the same slim lead he had over President Biden. But Democratic enthusiasm has spiked. 81% of Democrats now satisfied with Harris as their nominee, compared to 33% who were satisfied with Biden.
To what do you attribute her rising in the polls, this becoming a more competitive race since she's taken over for Biden?
She's a woman. She represents certain groups of people. But I will say this. When people find out about her, I think she'll be much less.
Trump campaign advisors tell me they're still confident he will win this election and that Harris's surge has been a sugar high, fueled entirely by Democratic voters who had soured on Joe Biden coming home. They believe Harris's record will prevent her from winning over the independents that she needs to win this election.
All right, Garrett, we appreciate that. For more on former President Trump's press conference today and the highly anticipated debate between him and Vice President Harris, let's bring in our political pros tonight. Hogan and Hopkins back again for round two. Michael Starr Hopkins, a Democratic strategist and former staffer on the Clinton and Obama campaigns. And Hogan Gidley, former White House principal deputy press secretary during the Trump administration. Thank you guys both for coming back. Hogan, I'm going to start with you. Was today a good day for the Trump fans campaign?
Well, first of all, I'm still mad we're not doing this from Paris. But the answer to your question is absolutely it was a good day. Trump wanted to do a couple things, which he accomplished. He wanted to prove to everyone that he can take questions from the media. He can do that press conference. And that also he wanted to debate Kamala Harris, two things that were up for question. Now, what he did was contrast what he was able to do and what he would do, which is stand there for an hour and take Q&A from the press, something Kamala Harris hasn't done and won't do, and now says, when asked, we'll sit down with me and my running mate in a few weeks. She's been the presumptive nominee for 18 days at this point and has done nothing to talk about the issues in this race. So I think he accomplished what he wanted to do. And, of course, he did talk about policy. He talked about the economy. He talked about the border. But the press will always focus on the palace intrigue over the policy every day of the week.
Michael, your response to that?
I mean, come on. It's not palace intrigue. During this press conference, he said that he was okay with banning mifepristone. He was okay with Roe v. Wade being overturned. He referred to Kamala Harris as stupid. He couldn't get her name right. Kamala, it's not hard. Like, at what point do we raise the bar and not allow the bar to just be so lowered by his performances? Like, I get that he stood up for an hour and talked, but so do crazy men on the corners all across the country. We've got to expect more from the Republican nominee than what we saw at Mar-a-Lago.
You know, Hogan, something that stood out to me, I listened to the first part of the press conference because I was covering some of the Olympics over here, but I was able to listen to the first part right before he was taking questions. I was sort of struck by how much he kept talking about Joe Biden and how much he kept talking about how, Vice President Harris was now the nominee, kind of upset over that. He seemed to get distracted instead of kind of hammering home some of the points maybe Republican strategists like yourself would want to when he's got sort of, I don't know if the nation's attention, but at least, the National Press Corps right there listening to him.
Well, it's still a little confusing to a lot of folks as to how we got here, because remember, the world was going to collapse and we were all coming to an end because we had a few votes to try and get a speaker on the Republican side when we ultimately settled on McCarthy and then, of course, Johnson. But they were able to just remove a sitting president of the United States, someone who'd held office in this country for half of a century, and no one batted an eye. They put her up there with no votes whatsoever. So it's well within bounds to have that conversation. But as you notice, he wanted to make that, establish the fact that the democracy and the people out there talking about the votes matter don't really care if it's on their side and if it's Kamala Harris, whatever. But then he pivoted and started talking about the issues people care about. Now, should he focus on those things moving forward? She's the nominee, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. Instead, let's talk about the policies that improve people's lives, things he put in place, whereas now we've been getting kicked in the teeth. That's what the focus of the campaign should be about.
Michael, is the pressure campaign to get Vice President Harris to do a news conference, to do a sit-down interview, to establish that she will debate? Is that working? I mean, did former President Trump score some points today in that regard?
I think it's working in a media narrative, but actual voters, people who are going to go to the polls, don't care. She's going directly to voters and speaking to them and introducing herself as the presidential nominee. This is someone who's been in the race for 18 days. She's put together, her election team. She's got her VP together. Now she's raised $200+ million. It's, we're getting ready for a convention in a little over 10 days. She's going to meet with press. This isn't something that everyday voters care about.
I do want to ask you, Hogan, this is some sound from the news conference today. Former President Trump making a statement. I want to get your reaction on the other side.
Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people. If not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000.
Hogan, I'm sorry. What exactly is he talking about there? Why is he talking about Martin Luther King?
Well, look, I think this goes back a long way, him arguing with the press about crowd size. And I think he's a little frustrated at the fact that this guy's been pulling in crowds, tens of thousands every time he speaks. Kamala Harris is now the nominee, and you went for someone who didn't have a pulse to someone who does. And, of course, there's going to be enthusiasm. And I think it's kind of ironic that the press is now saying, look at all the crowds. Look how enthusiastic, when Trump has been pulling these people now for the better part of a decade. That's probably what he was talking about. But really,
Hogan, I get the context.
As it relates to crowd
I get the context. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, I get the context. But I mean, is it worth it to waste time on that or to even bring that up when, again, the clock is ticking on the election?
Yeah, look, this election is not hinging upon the crowd size. What it is hinging upon are the massive crowds of people coming across the southern border, coming into our communities, taking our jobs, taking. Of course it is. Tens of millions of people flooding into our country. That's what he should be talking about, because they're ruining our way of life every single day. Forget the murders and the rapes for a moment, the burglaries and the assaults they commit. But they're a strain on our school systems, on our first responders, on our healthcare systems. Those are the crowds he should be talking about. Forget all the nonsense about crowd size. Let's focus on the issues that matter for the American people.
It goes
Michael,
to who he is, though,
set.
really quick.
Yeah.
It goes to who he is, because Americans have a choice, and they have a choice between Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Maybe you disagree with them on policy, but when you put up Donald Trump and that performance you saw today, that hour where he talked about wild conspiracy theories, he talked about Martin Luther King, he referred to Kamala Harris as dumb. Like, is that really the choice that Republicans want to spend the next 90 days defending while we have real policy differences?
Yeah, Michael, something else you did bring up, though, which was, hold on, Hogan, just hold on. Something else you did bring up was that the vice president really didn't have a great primary campaign when she ran against former President Biden. She did not make it to Iowa. She had some very rough debates. Are Democrats worried that this one-on-one debate could not go as planned?
I mean, I think whenever you go into a debate with Donald Trump, you should be worried and you should be prepared. I have no doubt that the vice president is going to be prepared for this debate, and she's going to try to hold Donald Trump accountable. Now, that's going to be difficult because he's going to spend an entire debate lying over and over and over again. And so she's going to have her hands full, but I fully expect she's going to be prepared for it.
Yeah, and then I guess, Hogan, my question to you is, should a former President Trump and the Trump-Vance campaign be concerned at all? Because he is going to be debating Vice President Kamala Harris. It's not going to be like Joe Biden, the only person he's debated over the last 4 years. It's going to be a fresh face, somebody new, somebody who's a little younger, who may have as much energy as he does.
Yeah, and she's been a U.S. senator. I mean, she's participated in committee hearings. She's well scripted. She's well ready in these types of environments. Look, she went on a debate stage with Joe Biden. She had canned lines, canned responses. It's all theater for her and all platitudes, but she still presents well. I mean, she does a good job at the line she has. I mean, don't forget, she called Joe Biden a segregationist and a sex criminal from a debate stage. So she has no problem going after her opponents. I expect it to be a battle royale. I expect it to be be much-watch television for sure, because these two people are trying to be the next president of the United States. Kamala Harris isn't good off script. If Donald Trump can get her off of her script, she's going to face a lot of problems, and that's why I think she's only committed to one debate, because if she said 3, she'd kind of fall into the Joe Biden trap. So she's trying to figure out if she does well in that first one to hedge her bets for the other 2.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get 3 debates, and we're looking forward to that first debate. Hogan Gidley, Michael Starr Hopkins, Hopkins and Hogan, Hogan and Hopkins, however you want to call it. We thank you for joining Top Story tonight. All right, we're going to turn out some other news. There's new body cam video just released from that assassination attempt against former President Trump. It shows the moments local law enforcement nearly confronted the gunman just seconds before shots were fired. The footage revealing major security lapses between police and Secret Service. Gabe Gutierrez with that video tonight.
Yo, Jess, you got me up once, bro. Tonight, newly released body camera video is revealing more of the confusion and frustration right before and after former President Donald Trump was shot.
I told them they need to post the guys over here. I told them that the Secret Service. I told them that Tuesday.
The footage, some of which is no audio, is from the Butler Township Police Department in Pennsylvania. It shows 2 officers trying to intercept the gunman on a roof seconds before he tried to assassinate the former president last month. One officer lifts the other to the roof. He sees the gunman off camera and falls back to the ground. That officer then runs to his car to grab a weapon.
It's close, bro. Dude, he turned around on me.
As backup arrives, there's confusion about where the gunman is.
This building. He was on top of this building. The left one.
By the time that officer returns to the roof, a sniper had already shot and killed the would-be assassin. The officer questions the apparent lack of communication.
That's what I was calling out, bro. On top of the roof. Are we on the same frequency?
About 10 minutes after the shooting, another local officer is furious with the Secret Service.
I told them they need to post the guys over here. No, we're inside. In the building. I talked to the Secret Service guys. They're like, yeah, no problem. We're going to post guys over here.
Late today, the Secret Service said it was reviewing that body cam footage and updating its policies to ensure a tragedy like this never happens again. Last week, the agency's acting director testified before Congress that he could not defend why that roof was not better secured. Tom?
Gabe Gutierrez, that stunning video tonight. All right, Gabe, thank you. We want to turn now to a story we've been following all week, the severe weather in the wake of Tropical Storm Debby. Deadly tornadoes spawned by the system tearing through North Carolina as communities brace for more heavy rain and flooding. Marissa Parra tonight with the latest.
After days of Debby's deluge, widespread flooding, and whipping winds, in North Carolina, reported tornadoes spawned by the storm wreaking havoc overnight, destroying this middle school in Lucama and these nearby homes. 85-year-old Rudine Hawley's granddaughters say she was inside when the tornado tore through.
So where was your grandma in all of this?
She was in this bed right here.
She survived?
Yes.
Now they're trying to salvage what they can.
That's like my word of the day. Everything's overwhelming.
Their neighbor died after his home collapsed on top of him.
The emotional part will hit us a little later, but right now we're just trying to get the job done.
In North Carolina and Virginia, the threat of both tornadoes and flooding remains high. Priscilla Thompson is about 30 miles south of Fayetteville.
With nowhere to go, water is now gushing out of manholes, flooding roads, and now threatening homes.
Shivering in blankets, these 3 children describe their rescue from a creek in Raleigh as floodwaters rose.
It was very scary. It was just rushing on, and there were a bunch of sticks, and they were hitting us.
Further south, Bladenboro, reeling from the rush of rain the town couldn't handle.
It's very heartbreaking for these businesses that worked so hard and called this place home.
Tomorrow, the flood risks and tornado threats continue, shifting north from Virginia to Vermont. Remnants of Debby should be in New England by the weekend.
You got destruction behind you. Okay, Marissa Parra. For more on Tropical Storm Debby's second landfall, let's bring in NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, what are you watching tonight, and is the storm doing anything different that we need to be aware of?
tornadoes. I think we had more than we were expecting, and we still have a chance of additional tornadoes through the night tonight. It's now a tropical depression. It's moved into North Carolina. It's going to cross North Carolina into Virginia by tomorrow morning. And that means all of these spiraling bands on the east side of the storm, that's what we're concerned with. This tornado watch that includes Washington, D.C., just about all of Maryland, all the way back down to eastern North Carolina. A huge tornado watch is in effect till 7 a.m. So a lot of people in the middle of the night, you may be getting some alerts on your phones, or you may hear the tornado sirens, and make sure you get to your shelter. We do have one tornado warning around Henderson, North Carolina on Interstate 85. That's just a radar indicated, but we'll continue to watch these isolated, supercells that are producing these quick-moving tornadoes right through the night. Flash flooding is also a huge concern, especially western portions of Virginia. So tomorrow morning when we wake up, we'll pause this at 9 a.m. Heaviest rain, Washington, D.C., up to central Pennsylvania, into areas of the Finger Lakes of New York. Then by the time we get to 6 p.m., the Hudson Valley of New York, northwards up to Vermont, and then a line of storms heading through New York City. So that's during the evening rush hour. That'll delay airports, too. By the time we get to Saturday, this whole mess is gone, thankfully. So additional rain, eastern North Carolina, isolated flooding. Keep a close eye on the mountains of Virginia later tonight. And then tomorrow, Tom, we'll focus our thoughts on central New York and also central Pennsylvania.
All right, I'm glad we have a timeline now when this sucker gets out of here. All right, Bill, we appreciate that. Let's move now to the investigation into that foiled terror plot targeting a Taylor Swift concert. Tonight, officials revealing new details about the alleged plan and the teens behind it. Keir Simmons has this one.
This 19-year-old, who investigators say was ready to kill himself, and large numbers of people using knives and explosives at a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna this week, was arrested yesterday at his apartment 50 miles from the stadium. Police revealing they found bomb-making manuals, explosives and detonators. The 19-year-old had recently quit his job, saying he had big plans, they say, adding he had consumed large amounts of ISIS and al-Qaeda propaganda. A 17-year-old alleged accomplice, who officials say had recently taken a job providing services for the Taylor Swift concert venue, was also arrested. And a 15-year-old is being questioned. NBC News has learned the concerts were cancelled after a tip from a U.S. intelligence agency.
Every night that summer just to see my face.
Taylor Swift fans consoling each other in Vienna today.
I'm devastated. I feel so sad. I'm so glad everyone is safe.
This girl came from California to celebrate her 13th birthday.
There were a lot of tears, but I'm happy that with other people are feeling the same and we're having a lot of fun together.
Keir Simmons joins Top Story Live tonight. Keir, with multiple people now involved, is there still an active threat?
It doesn't appear so as far as the authorities are concerned. Austria hasn't increased its terror threat. Coldplay will play at the same venue in a few weeks' time. They have not cancelled those concerts, and the authorities are saying that they are not looking for anyone else actively involved in this, although there may be other accomplices. There are some strange aspects of this, Tom, the kind of things that they found at this home when they raided anabolic steroids, a light and a siren that you would use to replicate a police car. So one of the questions about all of this is how much of an amateur operation was this, or how much help did they have? It isn't easy to go on the internet and then just build a bomb, but of course at the same time, someone like that can still be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it's strange. The more we learn about this, the more troubling it gets. Okay. All right, Keir Simmons, we appreciate that. Thank you. We want to turn now to our special coverage here in Paris of the 2024 Olympics. Team USA has passed the 100-medal mark. You can see that live right now. 103 medals for Team USA. USA also in front with 30 gold medals over China by just one. The marquee event tonight, the 200-meter sprint, was as close as expected. But what no one saw coming, the favorite, American Noah Lyles, revealing after the race that he was competing with COVID. And in another thrilling competition, men's basketball falling behind early to the scrappy team from Serbia.
And the United States trailing by as many as 17, back from underneath the grave.
Tonight, Team USA basketball avoiding an Olympics disaster by the skin of their teeth.
The U.S. in a major hole.
The heavy gold medal favorites trailing by 17 points in the first half against Serbia. Steph Curry leading a heroic comeback, putting up a dominant 34-point performance. On fire from behind the three-point arc.
Curry for the lead. Oh, kaboom!
And LeBron James finishing with a monster triple-double to close a game that had fans on the edge of their seats, setting up the team's fifth shot at a gold against France on Saturday.
Final of the men's 200 is away.
On the track, Noah Lyles shot at history, ending in heartbreak.
Noah Lyles said this is where he gets to show his speed. There's an upset. Did you see that coming?
The American sprinter falling short by 24 hundredths of a second in the men's 200-meter final, failing to clinch that rare 100-200 double gold.
Noah Lyles never looked like he was able to get to the front.
Coming in third behind teammate Kenny Bednarek, who bested him to take home a silver.
I think I ran 95% of it correct, and I didn't get the job done, but I'm happy to get on the podium again.
And he looks like he is struggling to breathe.
Lyles, who's asthmatic, wheeled off the track after he was seen gasping for air.
Your teammate Noah Lyles taken off in a wheelchair. Do you know what's going on with him?
I think he has a little sickness going on. So.
Does he really?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I heard, but I don't know. He said he's going to tell me after.
Lyles later confirming he ran the race 2 days after testing positive for COVID.
So Bogo starts to pull away, and there is no response from the Americans.
Beating both Americans and making history. Botswana's Letsile Tebogo, now the first man from an African nation to win Olympic gold in the 200.
Sydney McLaughlin is clearly ahead of Fenkabol.
And the track and field medals kept rolling in today for Team USA.
It's a world record and back-to-back gold for Team USA.
It was a world record finish for American Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni, who pulled past her competition and defended her Olympic title in the women's 400-meter hurdles. Teammate Anna Cockrell winning a silver medal.
What did that feel like?
I knew it was a fast race. I didn't know how close anyone was. The stadium's so loud. Just grateful. Just wanted to run my race.
How special was this gold medal?
Super special. My family's here. My husband's here. Yesterday was my birthday, so it's a great way to celebrate.
She did it. She's been talking about it all season.
Over in women's long jump, USA's Tara Davis-Woodhall securing gold. Her teammate Jasmine Moore landing in third.
Grant Holloway is streaking his way to gold.
Americans finishing 1-2 in the 110-meter hurdle. Grant Holloway bringing home the gold, and Daniel Roberts taking silver in a photo finish with Jamaica. A heartbreaking loss for women's water polo, right down to the wire in a penalty shootout against Australia, ending their run for a fourth gold medal in a row. And women's volleyball hanging on for a chance to bring home another gold. Catherine Plummer spiking the ball to clinch a tiebreaker set against Brazil as the team turns its sights to Sunday's final against Italy. For more on the U.S.'s action-packed day, I'm joined now by my good friend Bruce Beck. He's the lead sports anchor for our friends over at NBC News New York and, of course, a sports broadcasting legend. Bruce, so great to have you here. Let's talk about Team USA basketball. 3 quarters, they're down against Serbia, and they finally pull it out at the end. What happened?
They were down 17. They were down 13 going into the fourth, and Steph Curry stepped up. He's been struggling a little bit, but he found his touch. He buried 9 threes. This team has won every game by at least 17 going into today, so this was a test. They had to learn how to play in a close game, and this happens.
We got Rudy Gobert, Wembanyama on Team France. We're going to face them on Saturday. Should we be worried?
No. This is a rematch of the last Olympics final, but this USA team had a scare, and after this, I think it's smooth sailing. They had to figure out a way. Like an NCAA tournament, there's always one close game. That's what this was, I think, in my mind.
Let's turn to track and field, right? There seems to be maybe some question, some confusion. Noah Lyles tested positive for COVID. USA Track and Field says they knew he tested positive. He wanted to run. They were okay with it. From what it sounds like, no Olympic protocols were violated. It feels a little strange because he didn't have the mask on before he ran the race. Obviously, he's not going to run with the mask on. Then after the race, he doesn't have it. And then for the interview, he has it. Again, we're not sure if he did anything wrong, but it all seems kind of strange,
It
right?
was a little puzzling the way it was handled, but it goes to show it's almost impossible to win the 100 and 200. Only 2 guys have done it in the last 52 years.
Well, you can't win it with
Usain
COVID.
Bolt and Carl Lewis. And with COVID, it's even tougher.
Right.
But the rules and the restrictions and the regulations are unclear. It's really left up to the individual athlete and the federation, nothing with the IOC or the USOC.
Okay, talk to us about the queen of all hurdles, right? Sydney. I mean, nobody could touch her. In that final run, she was by herself.
Sydney McLaughlin is a superstar. This is the 6th time since 2021 she has broken the world record, and now she got 2 Olympic golds. Her father, Willie, told me in Rio in 2016 she would be the greatest ever. She was only 17 coming out of Union Catholic High School and from Dunellen, New Jersey. You know what? Father knows best, and father knew first.
Yeah. Talk to me, though, about some disappointment and maybe some, positivity. Water polo, the women's team loses. Volleyball, they win. What happened?
Volleyball, they were going for the fifth set, and Karch called a timeout with the team down early in the fifth set, and they rallied. Great move by Karch. That team is looking good. And as far as water polo goes, they were going for the fourth consecutive gold, and they had trouble against Hungary in their last game. They haven't been as sharp, and they ended up losing. It happens in Olympic competition.
Bruce, before we go, give me the one mystery of these Olympics. What's the one thing you're waiting for this weekend? What's the one match, the one event you're like, this could cap off the Olympics in a great way?
I'm looking forward to see Rai Benjamin in the 400-meter hurdles. See if he can finally capture gold. He had silver in Tokyo. He is a supreme athlete from Mount Vernon, New York, and he's up against Karsten Holm. He was up against another great guy, Dos Santos. And you've got one of the best fields ever in the 400-meter hurdles. But I think Rai Benjamin's time has come. He's known for close races, but now he has to beat Warholm. He has to beat Dos Santos, and I think he will.
Rai Benjamin, Bruce Beck says watch him. We're going to watch him for
Thanks,
sure.
Tom.
Bruce, great to have you as
Pleasure.
always. Yeah. All right, it's still ahead tonight, the unnerving tragedy at a CrossFit event. What we're learning about the athlete that drowned during a swimming competition, the investigation into his death. Plus, Russia on defense, Ukrainian forces armed with U.S. tanks pushing into Russia. Video showing Russian troops appearing to surrender. This is something that has not happened since World War II. So is this a turning point for Putin's army? Look at that. And another death linked to the listeria outbreak involving boar's head deli meat. The latest warning for consumers. Stay with us. Top story just getting started from here in Paris on this Thursday night. And here is a live look at the cauldron over Paris on a windy night here in the City of Light. Of course, the Eiffel Tower there in the distance. And we're here, live from Paris. There in the distance somewhere. We're going to have much more on the Olympics later in the broadcast, but first I want to turn it over to my good friend Morgan Chesky in Los Angeles with the day's other major headlines, including the athlete dying during the CrossFit Games in Texas. Morgan, good evening.
Hey, Tom, good evening. And we do want to get right to Top Stories newsfeed. And we start with that tragic death at the opening day of the CrossFit Games happening in Fort Worth, Texas. A 28-year-old Serbian athlete reportedly drowned while competing in the swimming portion of the games, taking place at Marine Crane Lake. Officials say they responded to the scene around 8 a.m. for a search and rescue operations, recovering that body about an hour later. Tonight, the official cause of death has yet to be confirmed, but an investigation is ongoing. And we're learning more tonight on the multi-state listeria outbreak that's been linked to deli meat. CDC reporting a third person has now died from the outbreak, and nearly a dozen more have fallen ill. Nationwide, 43 people across 13 states have already been hospitalized. Deli meat company Boar's Head expanded its recall last month to include 7 million pounds of additional products after a liverwurst sample tested positive for the food-borne bacterial illness. A new legal fight brewing involving that tragic Titan submersible trip, which ended in the loss of all 5 passengers after that submarine imploded. Tonight, the family of a French explorer who died on the Titan is suing Titan's parent company OceanGate for more than $50 million, citing wrongful death and gross negligence. OceanGate has already paused all exploration and commercial trips while the U.S. Coast Guard investigates. That next public hearing is set for September. And it was quite the surprise on the Jersey coast, where in a rare beach sighting, crowds spotted a massive basking shark. Take a look. New video shows the shark swimming near the shore in Cape May. Beachgoers just feet away there. This marks the second time in 2 weeks a basking shark has been spotted along the South Jersey coast. Basking sharks are among the largest shark species, reaching lengths of up to 15, sometimes even 20 feet. Well, time now for Top Stories Global Watch, and we head over to Russia, where tonight the military is facing a fierce defensive fight after Ukrainian forces attacked a border region inside Russia. Ukraine not commenting tonight officially on that ongoing offensive, but frontline fighters are sharing video they claim shows Russian troops surrendering. NBC's Josh Letterman on the strategy behind this brand new assault.
Tonight, Ukraine turning the tables on its invader with a cross-border incursion putting Russia on the defensive. Ukrainian forces releasing video they say show Russian troops raising white flags and surrendering at a border crossing in the Kursk region. Ukraine's military, trained and armed by American forces, pushing more than 6 miles into Russia, seizing territory, according to the U.S.-based Institute for the Study of War.
We have supported Ukraine from the very beginning to defend themselves against attacks that are coming across the border and for the need for crossfires. So they are taking actions to protect themselves.
It marks the first time a foreign military has invaded Russia since World War II.
How big of a deal is this?
Well, I think it's a huge stroke by the Ukrainians to achieve operational surprise. It was a blow to Putin, and it changed the narrative of the war in Europe.
Russian authorities releasing this footage of attacks on what they say are Ukrainian forces in the region, claiming 1,000 Ukrainian troops crossed the border and that more than 300 were killed or injured. NBC News can't verify the figures. Ukrainian officials haven't officially acknowledged the operation. But President Zelensky tonight dropping hints, saying everyone can see the Ukrainian army knows how to surprise and to achieve results. The incursion coming as Ukraine has been losing ground to Russia, raising questions about how long it can hold on.
Why would Ukraine want to take Russian territory?
The Russian military, notwithstanding their massive size and their endless manpower compared to the Ukrainians, have been knocked back on their heels by this attack.
In Russia, a state of emergency in the Kursk region and thousands evacuated. Kremlin releasing video of President Putin speaking to the Kursk governor, pledging 10,000 rubles, or about $115, to every Russian evacuated from the region.
Russian and Ukrainian troops are again clashing tonight on the third day of this incursion, and 11 settlements are reported to have been captured. If confirmed, that would be more than 100 square miles of Russian territory now under Ukrainian control. Morgan?
Significant developments. Josh Letterman, thank you. Coming up next, Tom is back from Paris with even more Olympics coverage. Stick around. Team USA women's soccer going for gold this weekend. The parents of midfielder Sam Coffey joined Top Story. Well, they say it's been like watching their daughter play on the world's biggest stage. Coming up.
We are back now in Paris. The U.S. women's soccer team preparing for their gold medal match after a thrilling victory over Germany in extra time. They'll now face Brazil on Saturday morning. Among those getting ready, New York native and midfielder Sam Coffey, who was one of only 3 players to play all 270 minutes of the group stage. Now only 90 minutes stand between her and the gold. Her parents, Wayne and Denise, watching the journey unfold on the sidelines for every game the team has played. They join Top Story tonight. Wayne and Denise, first off, thanks so much for being here. I know it's a busy time. You're watching your daughter compete in the Olympics. I want to put up an image for our viewers and for you guys as well to see this, okay? So I'm being told this is Sam rooting for Team USA at the Torino Games in 2006 at age 7. You said she was inspired by these Olympics. What has it been like to watch that dream come true, to see your daughter first be a fan and now compete for Team USA?
I think surreal might be a good word to begin with. It's just been, my wife and I keep looking at each other and thinking, is this really happening? Is this really happening? And this young woman has had this Olympic dream since she was younger than that, since 4 or 5 years old. So it's been the ride of a lifetime, and she's just soaking up every minute.
And I gotta think it's been even more special because they came in as underdogs. I think they were ranked 5th or 6th. Young team, new coach, and wow, now they're in the gold medal match. Mom, what's that like?
Thrilling. It's, I mean, we've been watching them get better and better with every game. Emma Hayes is an outstanding leader, and she's really pulled together this young team, a mix of veterans and very inspired young players who are determined to win gold. They'll take nothing less.
She came from Chelsea, from the UK, the coach. Do you give her a lot of credit for turning this team around, or at least getting this team ready?
I mean, after the World Cup last summer, when the team had its earliest exit ever, people were sort of, they were down on them. They thought they had kind of lost their mojo, and they were, for the first time, not #1 in the world. And Emma Hayes has just been, I think, tactically, culturally, motivationally, she's just totally energized this program. And
Yeah, and she struck a great chord in that she doesn't go ahead of herself. It's every game, one game at a time, and we've been building, and here we are.
You guys mentioned the World Cup. You're a sports writer. You have written about the Olympics and Olympians overcoming adversity. And the story of your daughter, the producers at Top Story are huge fans of your daughter and of this team, told me that she was passed up over the World Cup team, and now she is here, and she's playing in literally all the games except for one, but we won't get into that. And well, maybe we will get into that. But, I mean, tell me as a sports writer and as a dad, that's got to be an awesome feeling.
Yeah, it's incredibly awesome. I mean, she had her heart ripped out last summer when she was one of the last cuts for the World Cup team. And you know what? That's competitive sports. And she had a choice to make. And her choice was to either, you know, pout or mope or blame someone else or circumstances, or get back to work and make herself better and give the coach no choice but to pick her. And I mean, I think we couldn't be prouder of her response, her human response to that adversity. You know, I mean, we all know, like, athletes have to learn to pick themselves up, and boy, has she done that with a vengeance.
And she had a little bit of adversity. We alluded to that with the yellow card and not playing. Do you take that to be what? Just good playing, good soccer, maybe aggressive refereeing? I know you don't want to criticize the international referees here, but I mean, she had to overcome that.
We might want to criticize.
Okay, go for it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, as parents, that had to be tough to watch.
Oh, we were horrified.
Yeah. And Samantha said that when she got the second yellow card, so the next game she had to sit out because of the rules, and she described that as the longest 120 minutes of her life, because it went into extra time, right. and she was in this sort of kind of de facto penalty box up in the stands. She couldn't even be with the team. But Trinity Rodman had that wonder goal.
Yeah.
They got by Japan, and then they eked out another one over Germany, and now there's one game left.
Let me ask you about this. So I have little ones. They're starting to play sports. It brings you so much joy, right? When you watch your daughter now in the Olympics, is it the same feeling of when she started kicking a soccer ball? Are you still kind of seeing that little girl?
Yeah. I mean, I see the joy that she has. When she first played Pee Wee soccer when she was 6. I'll never forget this. She was the one child, half the children were picking daisies. She was the one child who got the ball and drove it to the goal every time she had the ball. And the parents would look at us and say, "What's wrong with your daughter?" And I was like, "Nothing. She loves to play soccer." What can I tell you? And never, ever, that joy, that passion never went away. She's been like that since she was a little girl.
Dad, talk to me about this gold medal match against Brazil. What are your thoughts as a former sports writer, somebody who loves sports?
Well, so I've covered I've covered 12 Olympics, and I've written on Deadline, and I can tell you unequivocally that there's nothing more nerve-wracking than watching your child, young woman, play with so much at stake. And so, I mean, I have great faith in the character and makeup of this team and in our daughter, and you know, I think they've got a great chance. But to say it's nerve-wracking is maybe the understatement of the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even want to know what my blood pressure is and heart rate is during games. And
especially at 120 minutes.
I've resisted the idea of taking any medication. I'm just gutting through it. But no, it's really been, we're so proud of her. And as Denise said, you know, if not that we're not here to, you know, give advice to parents of young athletes, but to be able to hold on to the joy and the passion is, I think, other than her health, that's been the greatest gift. Because I guarantee you, when Saturday morning, Eastern time, 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock Paris time, when she's on that field ready to kick the ball, she will be the most joyful human being on earth. Like, she gets to do what she loves for a living, and, you know,
and represent the United States.
Yeah, along the way. I know you're saying you're not taking medication. I'll have a little bit of medicine if they win. We could celebrate with some champagne. And that'll be the best medicine after. Wayne and Denise, thank you so much for coming here and sharing. And we're going to be rooting on your daughter and all of Team USA on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thanks very much,
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Wrestler Spencer Lee going for the gold, destined to play the sport because of his family's legacy. Gotti Schwartz has this one and even gets taken down by the Olympian's mother. I got to watch that. Stay with us. That's U.S. wrestler Spencer Lee, the 25-year-old competing in his first Olympic Games here in Paris. Today, Lee dominating the men's freestyle semifinal match and will now compete for gold. But his road to Olympic glory beginning long before he was even born. Our Gotti Schwartz got to spend time with Lee ahead of today's match to talk about the family legacy now coming full circle.
He hit that so quick and hard.
When it comes to American wrestling,
it just ran him over.
There aren't many names.
Beautiful, beautiful carry by Spencer Lee.
As dominant as Spencer Lee. And while Spencer looks to add to his legacy here in Paris, his family roots already run deep in France. His parents, Kathy and Larry, met here. In fact, the two accomplished judokas had a head-over-heels moment of fate on a judo mat.
Looked up and she said, "Do you want to fight with me?" The next thing you know, she dropped between my legs and she just hammered me. So that's how we met.
That is the most romantic thing I've ever heard.
Maybe. Yeah, I just wanted to, give him a nice introduction, I guess. No idea that I was going to change my life forever.
It was love at first fight. And within the year, they were married. Kathy even going on to make the U.S. national team and was an Olympic alternate in '92. But when it comes to the wrestling world, she's known for viral moments as the feistiest, sun-tossing, no-holds-barred, grappling mama with no qualms about going toe-to-toe with her son.
We ended up creating this little monster that's really amazing in wrestling, and he ends up wrestling here in this country where the rest of his family that's here is going to watch him compete. So it's very special.
And as Spencer's family gets ready to watch him on the world stage, it'll be the first time his French grandmother has ever seen him compete in person.
You used to get nervous, I'm sure, to see your daughter compete, and now to see Spencer compete.
L'histoire se perpétue. The stories is coming back, it's like perpetuate itself.
It's like a full circle.
It's like a full circle.
Full circle. And this is somewhere that you come to visit your grandma. Your grandma's never seen you compete. What's it like being here in France?
When you travel across the world, you get to see different cultures, but this is, part of my culture, so it's super exciting for me to be able to be a part of it and have my family be a part of it as well.
Yeah, honestly, this is the best story. I cannot wait to share this with you.
But wait until I throw you, that might be even better.
Oh, you're going to throw me, huh? Okay, I am extremely nervous about this. Oh my God.
A judo family, a wrestling family, now adding Olympics to their name.
Gotti Schwartz joins us now. Gotti, so she took you down.
Oh, my God.
Where exactly did she put that foot?
I mean, it was close, and she sent me flying. Yeah. I survived the fall, and I was okay. But she's like, "You want to do it again?" I was like, no. I had enough of Spencer Lee's mom. She is incredible.
And Mom was the sparring partner.
Okay, so this is the craziest part. You wrestled in high school, right? I wrestled in high school. So when he was a young wrestler, before he got into high school, before he got into middle school, like his dad was a coach, so they would set up the mats down in the basement, and he'd be showing his son move, and then he'd be like, wait, Kathy, come downstairs. And so he grew up with his mom as his sparring partner, and she would go toe-to-toe with him all the time. Would your mom ever?
She would never. I would never want to do that either. I know. It's too weird.
And my mom was always like reading a book in the wrestling stands, like not even paying attention when I was wrestling.
While you were getting just taken down.
Exactly.
Or pinning some guy.
Right.
Wait, so I do want to ask you, what is next for Spencer Lee? We're going to watch him together, maybe?
We're going to watch him together tomorrow. It should be a really good match. In fact, there's, you can't read too much into these things, but his opponent from Japan, very, very scrappy, just posted a little while ago on Instagram saying something like easy revenge. So could be a very fun match to watch. But I mean, Spencer Lee, he teched his last opponent in the match going into this. So he is just looking so strong right now.
If Lester and Sam Brock try to challenge me and you tag team,
oh my gosh,
they got hide on us, but they don't have the experience.
Let's go, guys.
They don't have the experience.
Let's go, Lester
they do not
and Sam,
have the experience.
We got this.
All right, thanks so much for watching Top Story, Gotti. Of course, thank you so much. And we leave you tonight with this image right here: the artistry of rhythmic gymnastics. Evita Grishkenis flying high for Team USA. Thanks for watching. More news on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.